Hi, good afternoon everybody, and thank you very much for your patience. I know we're starting about 10 minutes later than anticipated this afternoon. Had a few technical glitches going on in Canberra, and our third presenter is currently just trying to sort those out, so we're very hoping, fingers crossed, that he will be joining us, and we hope so. Thank you for joining us for this important webinar on Central Europe, particularly looking at the offerings and the untapped market potential for Australian companies in Poland. It's a market region that a lot of companies haven't explored, particularly Australian companies. So we're quite pleased to be able to run this in conjunction with our partners today, which is Austrade, who are sitting over in Poland. Thank you, Steve, and also NCI, who are based in Canberra. During this webinar, we will specifically cover the following topics. We'll go through an overview of the Polish market and why Australian companies should explore this market. We'll look at the rise of Poland and the opportunities that this provides for Australian companies in Central Europe, including looking at offshore manufacturing and distribution networks. Steve is going to run through some success stories of companies that he has worked with and that Austrade has worked with. Then we will move on to Marek, who from NCI, and he's going to cover creating blue ocean strategies, which is essentially how you and your company can create new demand in an uncontested market space. We'll then move on to a concept of NCI's called the Visualization of Cultural International Shift Program. Yes, it is definitely a bit of a mouthful. And we'll finish up with some insights from Marek, who is obviously Polish, and also his colleague from the Polish consulate, who'll give some, I guess, personal and business insights into doing business in the Polish market. We do have time for questions and answers at the end. We will, if you can type your questions into the right-hand side of the panel, we'll collect those questions as we go through the webinar, and then what we'll do is we'll have a combined Q&A with both Steve and Marek at the end. If you feel that we can't answer any of your questions directly online today, don't worry. We'll keep a record of those, and then we'll come back to you personally with any answers that you might have. So without any further ado, because we're already running a little bit late today, I'm very pleased to introduce Steve Rank, who is the Senior Trade Commissioner for Central Europe from the Australian Trade Commission. There's a brief introduction into Austrade's role there. I'm actually assuming that a lot of the people online today actually know what Austrade does. We've had the privilege of working with Steve in the past in a different capacity. Since he joined Austrade in 2009, Steve has held a number of roles, including as State Director in Western Australia, managing the Austrade trade advisory teams in New South Wales, where we particularly worked with him, as well as a specialised financial services team. Additionally, immediately prior to his current role, he was responsible for developing Austrade's partnering and collaborating strategy. Prior to joining Austrade, Steve held senior management roles in both economic development agencies in New South Wales and Tasmania, and in addition to his extensive experience in the corporate and commercial banking sector. He has postgraduate qualifications from the University of New South Wales, the University of Technology Sydney, and is also a graduate of the University of Sydney. You've done the rounds in New South Wales, Steve. I'm very, very pleased now to just hand the reins over to Steve, who is kindly joining us from Poland. I know he's having a great time there. So, Steve, over to you.